I'd like to introduce my partner, the real violinist, Suzanne. I know it's an old one, but you know that the second violinist of the Amadeus Quartet, Sigmund Nissel, Ziggy was at a sort of stand-up party once, and he was talking to a group of people about second violin playing, when this very posh lady turned on him and said, "What did he mean talking about something so disgusting? Terrible!" Transpired she thought he was talking about sex and violence. Well, as you all know, because surely you can remember, this is about the 15th time, but anyway, of course, the string quartet repertoire is so much bigger than the string trio repertoire. And what's the difference? The difference is us! The second violins. Now, second violins, of course, are very special people. They have incredible empathy. They have to be. They have to understand people on a very deep psychological level. They have to be very intellectual. They have to know works from the inside and be very analytical and very brainy. They are always very brainy, fantastic musicians, and completely without conceit. And of course, completely without ego. However, at the dead of night, their repressed violin soul tends to wake up, and they dream of being able to play on the E string. And play those concertos. Play those pieces that show off the violin, show off the ego, which they, of course, don't have, but dream of having. And, but of course, concertos are are beyond their hands. You know, they can't do them. But then it suddenly struck me, because of the great musical analysis that the second violin has at their disposal, that they can actually play all the notes of the great concerti without danger to life and limb. It struck me, like, first of all, in the development section of the Brahms Violin Concerto, that wonderful passage. Etc. You all recognise that, don't you? I mean, the way Brahms actually wrote it was like this, but I don't know that it's that much more effective. Which I also enjoy, and that's this one. And then there's that bit, the next bit, you go. Well, challenge me. Can you play me something from the Lalo Symphony Espagnole, the beginning or something? Goodness, and believe me, she's had quite a bit to drink. However, let's see, the thing is that, all right, that's one of the most heroic openings you can imagine. It sort of conjures up for me Powell bullfighting, you know, really. But I think one can do without all those big shifts. basically just... However, it's been very interesting having Suzanne around. There's also, occasionally, Suzanne has pupils at Birmingham, and she occasionally gets them to play to me. But she always, before they play to me, she always gives loads of instructions as to what each of them is like. She more or less gives them a DNA profile. But she also has lots of useful tricks. One of these tricks could be something that could liberate the second violin. Because Suzanne likes to practice, to tell her pupils to practice scales at speed, but make the shift slow. I know, it's an amazing thing, isn't it? If you think of it. I mean, she doesn't say how slow. And if you put this together with the great English composer William Walton, who said that he would not write anything he couldn't play. So when he wrote the violin concerto, he had to play it. And it took him 3 weeks. If you put those two thoughts together, and I promise you we won't be here for that long, then it could be, because the thing that's frightening is going up and down the violins fast. But if you have a nice long time to do it, it might even be possible for a second violin. Play that into the Sibelius. This is the first part of the Sibelius cadenza. First of all, you have to admire. The opening would just be... With the new thought that one could shift slowly. You could go... I think you're pushing sharp, actually. See, there, then you've got a shift. About that is that the orchestra isn't really doing anything other than a long chord. So it isn't even as if their part has to be rewritten to accommodate it. You couldn't do it with a lot of pieces, but you can do it with that one. And that took, what, less than a minute. So the other thing is, do you think it's worth risking Paganini?
I think so.
Well, you see, the thing is that many years ago, when I was a student, I took it upon me to play a Paganini Caprice in a church in London to a massive audience of about 7. Included my mother and my aunt. It wasn't terribly good. And in fact, my aunt came out with the best comment. She said, in all seriousness, without any malice, she said, tell me, does it sound nice if it's played well? This made me think that before I inflict Paganini upon an audience again, again, I ought really to study it in depth, and even better, get somebody to help me with it. Well, I mean, this one that we're going to try and play you a little bit of, from there. I don't think I can read that. Well, I suppose yes, but can I read it? Only this one is actually, Suzanne, play the real version, it's in thirds. You see, that's a pair of horns, and if I did it, both horns would be sacked. What do we do from there? Yes, it's 1, 2, 3. Then. By the way, my part was actually written legato there, but it's in Konya Hudi. That's why it's a little bit funny. I think it's probably time for cakes now and coffee. I think we've run out of our repertoire for this year, but we'll think of a few more things for next year.